Well, hello guys. It took me an hour to chop my wood. I found a dead standing tree, a big one, and then about 15 minutes to set up my super shelter. This is the Mors Kochanski super shelter I made a few weeks ago. So tonight I'm going to test it. It is what, 23 degrees Fahrenheit now, 23. And the forecast calls for 10 degrees overnight. This will be a good test. I just set up my shelter with a ridge line. Got a prusik knot right here to tension it. Same thing on the other side. You see? Here's the entrance right there. I'm going to build a Siberian log fire right there and not so close. This is big wood, so this fire is going to project a lot of heat that way. That's what a Siberian log fire does. It kind of projects the heat one way. So if you stand in front of it, you get all the heat, but to the sides and to the back, you get nothing basically. So this is too close. Normally in a super shelter, your fire should be, one step like this, just about there from your tent, from your super shelter. But this fire is going to project a lot of heat, so I'm going to go maybe step and a half or 3 feet is about one step. So maybe I'll go back 4.5 feet. So I have very big logs here. A Siberian log fire, the bigger the logs, the longer the fire will last. So you can make it big or small, depending on your needs. And when I set it up, I'll go into more detail with the log fire. It's a bit too early to light it right now, so I'm just gonna do some other chores. Just basically set it up, prepare a small fire underneath to start it, and then put my sleep system in there, and then we'll have dinner later. There's camp, ladies and gentlemen, not too far from the car and the road. There's Jeeper Creeper. I'm in the Kettle Moraine State Forest Southern Unit. So I parked, and the first thing I did was look for a dead standing tree, and I found one. So first order of business was to chop the wood. Then I set up the tent, and the fire lays all ready. I just have to light it. So let me show you around camp. Here's my axe, my saw, my machete. The chainsaw I put away, I don't need it anymore. I just use it to bring down the big tree. I could do it with a buck saw, but that would have taken a long time. So, here's my jacket. I've been working, so I didn't need it, but now I'm not active anymore, so I'm gonna have to put it on in a few minutes. So, the chair, I'm gonna set it up. I could collect a whole bunch of birch bark in that bag, so I'm gonna use that to start the fire. And here, let's see you can see that. The super shelter, my sleeping bag's inside and my sleeping pad. I got 2 more sleeping bags just in case. Better be safe than sorry. And there's the door of the super shelter. And there's the fire. So I got a lot of small wood to start the fire underneath there. And then eventually that base log is going to catch. And then the logs on top are going to start to burn. And this will last a long time. I'm expecting at least 3 hours of burn time just from this once I light it. I'll time it. So a Siberian log fire is what you see right here. You have a base log and 3 logs put at an angle so they touch right there but not in the back, so the fire doesn't burn out to the back. So you light the fire underneath, and then it'll keep burning all night, projecting the heat toward the tent that way. And then when these burn, you just move the logs up and the fire continues to burn. So this is a long-lasting fire with low maintenance, and it's very versatile. The bigger the logs, the longer it will last. You can choose smaller logs if you want to a shorter lasting fire. I got the fire going. It looks very nice. So I'm standing behind the tent. See? And the Siberian log fire is off and running. So I got a thermometer outside and a thermometer in the tent. So once this gets going, I'll tell you what the temperature difference is. Here I'm in front of the tent, and you know I'm standing right behind the fire and I feel no heat at all. As I said, this fire is unidirectional. Basically it projects all its heat forward. Here's my thermometer, my outside thermometer. Here I'm standing to the side of the fire, and again I really don't feel any heat. Okay, temperature update. I've got this going for about 8 minutes now, and the outside temperature is 20 degrees, and the thermometer inside the shelter is already reading 40 degrees. I went to the car to get my dinner. It's already cooked. I'm just going to warm it up over the fire. I'm having lamb shank and rice with almonds, raisins, and potatoes. I'll show you. It's delicious. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, I think you can. Inside temperature 62, outside temperature 20. This is only after 15 minutes. So it is a success, ladies and gentlemen. I got my food warming. That'll take about 15 minutes or so. One thing to watch out for with the Siberian log fire is you don't want them burning past the log like it's doing here. So that's why they have to be spaced out. So there's not enough heat to keep the flame going. So they were a little bit too close. I just spaced them out, and now it's dying out. So that should be fine. Temperature report, 30 minutes in, outside 20, inside 75. Our food is ready. Look at that. Yay. Now let's eat. Man, look at this. The lamb is so tender. Oh, wow. It is delicious. Mmm. Man, that's terrific. And the rice with the almonds and the raisins and the potatoes and curry. It has curry in it. Look at that. Oh. That is great. Guys, thanks for being with me. Please share, like, and subscribe. I really would appreciate it. Our tea is boiling. So let's... Ow, ow, that's hot. So I'm going to have tea with pistachio nougat. Yay! And if that's not enough, what is this, cherry almond packaroon. It's delicious. Because I put the cup directly in the fire, it'll be too hot to drink from the lid. So I'm going to put this silicone lid on there. You've seen this in my previous videos. So this, it's got a hole in it, so I can drink from there without burning my lip. I am inside the tent. As you can see, it is warm in here. It is 54.9 inside and it is 19.6 outside. So this thing is working. There is one issue, and that is this. You see this? There are twigs that punctured the floor of my tent. Now this is not a problem. I can fix this, but there's 4 or 5 of them actually. I should have put the tarp underneath this. I thought about it, but I said, well, I'll make this a realistic situation. If I'm in a survival situation, I won't have a tarp with me. So this is something you have to worry about. So there's one here, there's one to my left, one behind me, one further back down toward my feet. But as far as the Supershelter is concerned, you see there it is. It's pretty long. It's 7 feet. It's not tall, so you really can't do anything except slide in. As far as the temperature, it's working like a charm. It's 54 degrees, as I said. I brought my 10-degree quilt, my 30-degree quilt, and my 50-degree quilt because I wasn't sure, just to cover all bases. But these twigs I'm going to have to remove, else they'll puncture my sleeping pad. So, but as far as the Supershelter is concerned, guys, success. This is a pretty nice shelter. As I said, I'll put the link in on how to make it, the video I made, in the description. You can see it. It works like a charm. Just, you know, be careful where you pitch it. Make sure the ground is clear so the floor isn't punctured. But as far as that, a little tape is going to fix that, no problem. Damage report. As I said, there were twigs, standing small twigs that punctured the floor of my Supershelter. So be careful when setting up your shelter. Now, some embers landed on the window and caused small burn holes. I can see 3 or 4, just casual inspection. And that's because the Supershelter is downwind from the fire. So for future reference, when I set it up, when you set it up, just make sure the fire is downwind from your Supershelter so that the wind doesn't blow the embers onto your window. That's how you easily fix that. Otherwise, as I said, the shelter's it's wide, it's not bad, but it's not tall. It's 37 inches tall, I think. So you really can't sit up. So be aware of that. You have to crawl in and out lengthwise. The log fire, Siberian log fire, that's a success. It works like a charm. And I started this fire at 5 o'clock. It is, let's see, yeah, it is 9 o'clock now and the fire is still going strong. Sorry, it is 7 o'clock now. Fire is still going strong 2 hours later, and this should go for another couple hours. Look, there's a lot of wood left to burn. So I'm thinking, guys, I don't want to risk puncturing my sleeping pad by laying it on that floor, because it's really annoying to find and fix a leak in a sleeping pad. So I think I'm gonna go back home. I just don't want to puncture my sleeping bag. I've dealt with that before. It's extremely annoying to find, and usually I'm not able to find it. I've had like 7 punctures. I've only found 1, and I have to ship it back to the manufacturer for them to fix it. So I'm gonna not spend the night here. As far as the Supershelter, total success, and let me give you the latest temperature reading. It is 64 inside the Supershelter. As you can see here, let me show you again. Wait, it is 20 outside and 64 inside. So balmy weather. So this can get you through the night. You need 4 hours of REM sleep. If you can sleep for 4 straight hours, then you're fine. It doesn't have to be 64 all night. So long as it's above freezing, and you have your gear with you for that temperature, you should be fine. It's the bitter cold you want to avoid. So above freezing, you can handle with, of course, your sleeping bag and your sleeping pad. But you need 4 hours of REM sleep to survive. You can't go for more than 2 or 3 nights without 4 hours of REM sleep, because what eventually will happen is you're going to sleep regardless how cold it is. So the cold is not going to wake you up, and you will freeze to death in your sleep. So that's why it's important to have warmth so you can have sleep. That's why fire is part of your sleep system, because you have to be warm enough to sleep those 4 minimum hours of REM sleep. All right, so I think I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna pack up and go home. I'm gonna douse this fire and then go back home. I'm only 2 hours from Chicago. Three gallons of water and the fire is thoroughly doused. Now it's time to go home. Hey guys, thanks for being with me. Please share, like, and subscribe, and see you next time.